River cruise staterooms, French balconies, twin balconies, standard verandas, fixed windows. It's so confusing. Are you as confused about these as I am? Well, today on Just the Facts, we're going to take the mystery out of river cruise staterooms. Stay tuned. My guest today is Lauren Matthews, a river cruise expert with Cruise and Travel Specialists. Hi, Lauren. Welcome to Just the Facts.
Hi, Ken. How are you?
Great. You know, one thing that's always bugged me when it comes to river cruising is the plethora of stateroom choices and the names associated with them. You got verandas, you got French balconies, you got twin balconies, you got suites, there's panorama, fixed windows, and what's the Swan View Room? Can you help me and my viewers take the mystery out of these choices, perhaps?
The Swan View. Yes, that was some marketing genius who came up with that to make us all feel good about it. Yes, I would be happy to help you decipher this lingo.
Perfect. So where do we start?
So most river cruises have 3 different decks. And so it's kind of like a bell curve in our agency is the way that I think about it, is that you've got the lowest deck, which has your Swan View, typically rooms, meaning that if a swan were to happen to come by, it would be right there because you're under the water. Like 80% of your room is under the water. So your window would be right here. But depending on the ship, I'm like right here for me because I'm short. Yeah. But depending on the ship, some have larger Swan View windows. Some have like this, a foot
right
to probably tall windows. So that's the lowest deck.
Right.
Middle deck is where you're going to find most of your French balconies, which are a sliding glass door essentially with a rail so that you don't fall out. And your twin balconies on some different cruise lines, your panorama staterooms. And then on the top deck, you'll also find panorama balconies, but that's where most of the suites, you'll find them. So, and they're right underneath the sun deck. But when I say a bell curve, the reason why I say that is because for the majority of them, we book in the middle.
Okay.
We book like probably 10% swan, 10% suite, and then 80% right in the middle deck because the value is really there.
Yeah.
And also pricing can vary on location, but a river cruise is not like an ocean cruise. So it's not like you're going to be like there's more motion or something in the back or like, oh, you have to walk 5 more feet. So you're going to pay $100 less. Right. And I advise people about that.
Thinking about 3 of the popular lines, Viking, Ama, and Avalon, what exactly is a French balcony? When I hear French balcony and I hear twin balcony and I hear balcony. What's the difference between the 3 and who has what?
French balconies are just a sliding door that you can have air. Now, I know that for me, that's part of my biggest thing. It's not even so much the light, which is nice. I'm from the Pacific Northwest. I'm a vampire. I don't need light. But it's about air for me. So right. The French balcony allows you to have airflow, which is really nice. Now, right. Of course, during the day, you will most likely be right up against another ship. So that's not when you're going to want the air. It's like at night or in the morning or when you're sailing. But during the day, you're not going to open it and stare into your neighbor's room because that would be weird. Then those are found on Viking, amongst other lines, but Viking has a lot of French balconies. AmaWaterways has a concept called twin balconies, and that is one that's a French, and then next door to it, like it kind of goes like, and then there's a balcony you can actually sit on. So their rooms are wider instead of deeper. So it's just a different layout. And people really enjoy those who like to sit out. Now, again, that would be when you are sailing, not when you're docked, most likely, unless you're on the end.
Right.
And so that is a unique feature of AmaWaterways. Avalon, theirs are called panorama because it's this huge wall of glass and the bed is situated to face out. So that's a really cool concept too, because then, you're always kind of getting the view of the river.
So that's a novel concept for Avalon and is unique to them, I think. Is it not?
It is. Yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So the balconies on them, would they have an actual balcony, or are they more the French style where you have a sliding door?
Style.
Okay.
Yep. They're the French style as well. So it's actually because of the width restrictions on ships, That's why we don't see, or we didn't see, a lot of true balconies. Innovation takes time. So when ships were first coming out, they were just like, they're this wide. If we put a balcony, then it's this wide and we can't get through a lock. Now they're starting to turn things and change things and make those true balconies for people that really enjoy those. But if you're in a French balcony and you open the door and your seats are right there, it's very similar.
Right. I think Viking's done some kind of novel construction with the way they set up. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. They've moved the aisle on the ship. Normally, it's down your aisle is normally down the center of the ship. On some of these newer Viking ships, they've moved it to the left, and they have smaller French balconies on one side, maybe 135 square feet, I think, and
Yeah,
then
they're smaller
veranda
rooms.
cabins on the other.
Yeah, no, Viking has a ton of ships and they are innovators and they are really working that concept
Right.
of trying to move things around within the footprint of the ship.
Right.
So they definitely have some new products coming out, but again, they have so many ships, so you have to know what ship you're getting.
Exactly. Like with 70 plus ships on the rivers in Europe alone, you have to know which one you're choosing.
And you also have to accept the fact that if something changes, you're in that contract, it says we can change ships. So I always make sure to point that out to people, that even if you're real big on this ship, we want to make sure that you're also real big on the itinerary and everything else, because things change.
So from your perspective, what cabins do you folks mostly sell?
We sell a lot of French balconies, and on Ama, we sell a lot of twin balconies because of, again, the idea is novel and they have both. On Avalon, it's a lot of panorama suite. And again, it's that middle deck is really where, 80% of our clients end up.
Right.
Because the jump to suites, again, depending on the cruise line, and depending on the promos and depending on the availability, the jump can be like really significant. So a lot of times I'm like, you could probably do a whole nother cruise. And if you do two middles, then going up, and reverse, it's also, decent sized jump from the Swan View. But a lot of people immediately say, no, I don't want that. I'm claustrophobic. I don't want to be under the water. I need air, things like that. So that's like a pretty clear distinction. Like I would say 90% of people I talk to, I say, okay, have you looked at rooms? And they go, no Swan View.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've heard that you don't spend a lot of time in your cabin anyway. So, what's the rationale for booking the more expensive?
I think it depends on who you are, how, quite frankly, you recharge. Like I like to go out and have a full day, but then I like to have a nice room, again, with some airflow and a nice view to kind of relax in. So it just depends how you spend your time. I mean, some people absolutely don't spend a lot of time in their room and therefore don't spend a lot of money on it. I mean, it's still a lot of money, but don't prioritize that. Yeah. Whereas other people are like, we are going to be in our room a lot. We're going to have room service. We just want to hang out with each other, and, we'll leave the ship and come back and go straight back to our room. So just depends on the client.
All right. So I'm going to pin you down. Is it worth it to have an actual veranda versus a French balcony?
It depends on the river and the time of year.
Okay. And why is that now?
Because when it's colder, or, like you're doing the Christmas markets, you're going to sit out on your balcony. It's 40 degrees out, no.
Yeah.
But I also live with a bunch of boys, and I would not share a room with a boy without a window that opens. So that's
just how it rolls.
Yes. Yes, I have way too many boys in my life. I know all about that. So that, again, if it was a girlfriend and I wouldn't worry about it as much, So I think that it just depends. But it also changes based on, is it going to change if you can go or not? Yeah. I always say, like, if it's, you're only going to go a suite or you're not going, go see the world, like you'll figure it out. There's a lot of great public spaces on these ships as well, where there's a lot of outdoor, places to sit. People always say, like, well, which side of the ship should I be on? I'm like, no, we're not doing that. If it's that much of a view on both sides, go to the sun deck, sit up there and watch the world go by. Where we put people on across the hall from each other. So if there's some really good view on this side, they can run to their friends. But I think it really just depends on your budget and your priorities and how you live.
So your advice is book the nicest stateroom that you can afford that gets you there, as opposed to not going at all.
Absolutely. 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 You'll still have a wonderful time no matter where you are. But of course, everyone likes a nice suite. I mean, it's just like, should I fly first class? Like, yeah, don't leave any money for your kids. That's my mom's philosophy. She has it on a sign in her office. So that's my advice.
Well, Lauren, this is absolutely super information. You got any last minute tips for folks looking to book a river cruise this year or next?
My last minute tip would be to call your favorite travel professional and make sure that you get on the right ship. I always tell people you don't want to pay for things that you're not going to use, i.e., a balcony, but you are also not wanting to get nickeled and dimed, and we don't want you to have that fear of missing out. So we'll make sure that we take care of you and help educate you on all the different choices.
Super. And if folks wanted to reach out to you or one of your team about a river cruise, how would they do that?
So phone number is below, 503-449-7461, which is my direct line. So call or text or email, whichever way you'd like to get a hold of us. We would love to help you.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, we're going to have you back for Just the Facts. What would you like to talk about next month?
Let's see. So I guess when I talk about time of the year, one of the biggest questions I get is high and low river levels. And although I am not a meteorologist, nor do I have a crystal ball, there are statistics involved in that. And I'd love to chat with you about how to hedge your bets.
That sounds great. So we'll see you next month, and we'll take the mystery out of high and low water levels.
That sounds great, Ken.
Sounds great. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. And that about wraps it up for today, folks. A very special thanks to my guest, Lauren Matthews of Cruise and Travel Specialists. If you'd like to reach Lauren, I will leave her contact information in the description. If you'd like to reach us, you can send a question to questions@realtravelexperts.com. Visit our website, realtravelexperts.com, or simply leave a comment. We always respond. And as always, folks, if you enjoyed this content, a like, subscribe, share, and a ring of the bell is certainly appreciated and helps us to spread the word. So until next time, happy travels.